50 years ago, students at Columbia University made headlines around the world when they occupied 5 buildings across the school. Student protests were focused on 2 major issues: the university's ties to the Vietnam War and the proposed construction of a new university gymnasium in nearby Morningside Park. The occupation lasted for nearly a week before it was violently broken up by police who had been called in at the university's request. More than 700 students were arrested, making it one of the largest mass arrests in New York City history. A Time to Stir, Columbia 68, is a new collection of essays that brings together the reflections of those who participated in and witnessed the events firsthand. We're delighted to have with us Paul Cronin, an author who edited the collection, and Professor William Sales, emeritus professor from Seton Hall University, who was one of the Columbia student protesters. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Paul, I'll start with you. Why this collection and why now?
Well, the most obvious answer would be it's 50 years, so it's nice to hang the project on that peg. But the truth is that when one looks at the facts of Columbia 68 and looks at the characters and the dynamics and the interactions between the different constituencies, it's hard not to notice that every one of these beats has, as it were, a contemporary analog. Many of the key issues of the time are very relevant to today.
Professor, let me bring you into this, all right? Because you become part of this. Was this something that was planned, or did it kind of evolve organically?
The actual protest itself was spontaneous, but there were a whole lot of social forces that were coming together at the end of the 60s, which created a critical mass both of white students and black students who were prepared to take action on behalf of social change. So beyond the spontaneity, the capability for seizing the attention of the country was there, and that's why we were so successful, not only in taking over the buildings, but in ultimately achieving the demands that we placed upon the institution.
One of the interesting components of this, and if folks remember the name Mark Rudd, who became essentially the face of the Columbia protests, he had an op-ed piece fairly recently, and he talked about the fact, he used the term the hidden history of these protests and focusing on the roles of African-American students and on women. Why do you think that's referred to as a hidden history?
Well, you know, it's not only the history, but the university wanted to hide the role of black students because we represented an advanced guard of the one constituency that could possibly defeat them, and that was the adjacent black community at Harlan.
The notion of hidden history, I think, is an interesting and important one. What Mark Rudd in that op-ed is really trying to do is shift the focus away from himself. I mean, I've talked to Mark a lot in the last year, and he's very anxious that the focus be shifted back on the black students of Hamilton Hall. I mean, it's worth
Hamilton Hall was
there were 5 occupied buildings.
Takeovers.
Yes, 5 occupied buildings for that week, and one was held exclusively by black students. And it really is fair to say that Hamilton Hall was certainly the moral, but certainly the strategic center of those protests. I mean, Bill can explain why it was the strategic center. But
why was it that? And there's also, you hear, when you've studied this and talked to us, there was, I don't know if you want to call it an issue, but there was a request by the African-American students saying, we'll take this. You go get your own building, essentially.
Yeah.
And I know that people have written that to this day, there are still some folks, you know, who actually were asked to leave, who are not that comfortable with it. How did that all take place?
Okay, first, Hamilton Hall was a college administration building. It wasn't just another classroom building. Thus, the seizure brought, you know, the normal operation of Columbia College to a standstill.
The ground zero of Columbia College.
Our ability to stay there the first night and to get white students to take other buildings meant that when Low Library was seized, we had both the College Nerve Center and the University Nerve Center. All right, that's the significance of Hamilton. Now, in terms of the issues of the relationships of white protesters and black protesters, we were at different levels of organizational capability at that point. But we were within the first night, a single building, Hamilton Hall. Black students had decided that this protest could not go forward without an actual building seizure and a building closed down. This was not a consensus at that time among white students. Not only was it not a consensus, they vacillated around what their position was. We then decided that we can't be safe in this building, we can't advance our goals unless we hold it exclusively. And therefore we asked white leadership, you guys, we want you to leave and go take as many other buildings as possible. I was the person who brought that message to Rudd and to Ted Golden and others specifically. It wasn't that we don't like you guys, get out of here, we don't like white people. That was not what it was at all.
It was a strategic
It was
decision.
the fact that we were going to pursue
Right.
different tactical objectives within a large strategic unity.
Last question for you. A message in terms of today, looking back 50 years. What might have...
I speak in part, as it were, for Mark Rudd, who is a very thoughtful guy, and his message is about organizing. Columbia 68, I mean, you ask, what's so interesting about Columbia 68 is it is spontaneous, but that spontaneity is rooted in years of organizing on the campus, whether it be amongst the white students or among the black students. There's this interesting interplay between careful organization and spontaneity. Yeah. And I think, so organization is a key message of this whole...
Well, as I said, it's a marvelous book you put together. Professor Shell, good to talk with you.
Thank
Share some of these recollections as we as old guys have. Thanks for both joining us. You both be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.